The US and Japan seem to be taking the Chinese threat against Taiwan seriously and meeting it head-on. A US Air Force aircraft made a brief, unannounced stop at an airport in central Taipei in Taiwan. The C-146A Wolfhound landed just days after Sandra Audkirk arrived to take up a position as director of the American Institute in Taiwan, hinting at stronger ties. Japan, on its part, has released its annual defense white paper and has warned about growing military tensions around Taiwan, indicating that it could threaten peace and stability in East Asia. This marked the first time that the report, which was approved by Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga's government, took up the issue of stability around Taiwan. Taiwan's mention in itself is circumventing the One China policy. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes how the US and Japan are poking China where it hurts most: Taiwan. Let's get into the details. This video is sponsored by War Thunder. If you are, like us, fascinated by military vehicles and technology, I recommend you give War Thunder a try. It's a military vehicle combat game which you can download and play for free on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. It has a huge variety of more than 1,200 playable aircraft, tanks, helicopters, and ships from the 1930s to the 1990s, which you can take to battle on land, in the air, and at sea on more than 80 theaters of war. War Thunder's been kind enough to offer all Defense Updates viewers a special bonus, which will grant you a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship, and 3 days of premium account time for registering using our link in the description below. So take the plunge and join more than 20 million players from around the world. China views Taiwan as a breakaway province. Taiwan is currently a self-governed democracy. Chinese Communist Party has stated that it was willing to bring Taiwan back to its fold, even if it requires force. It's been intimidating Taiwan, especially since the incumbent president, Tsai Ing-wen, won the 2020 Taiwanese presidential election with her Democratic Progressive Party and was re-elected to a second term with a historic record of 8.17 million votes. That's 57.1%. This is seen as a setback for Beijing and its attempts to get Taiwan into China's fold. She easily defeated her opponent Han Kuo-yu, whose Kuomintang party promotes closer ties with China. Just recently, People's Liberation Army Air Force, PLAAF, has sent 28 military aircraft into the southwestern corner of Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ. This was the largest number of Chinese sorties in that area since the PLAAF began sending planes to coerce Taiwan. Also, during a speech to commemorate the Communist Party's 100-year anniversary, Chinese President Xi Jinping had stated, "Resolving the Taiwan question and realizing China's complete reunification is a historic mission and an unshakable commitment of the party." As per reports, the United States has sent a military plane to Taipei on an apparent courier mission to aid the changeover of personnel. Several analysts have taken this as a sign of a deepening relationship. Wu Chaiyan, a spokesperson for China's Defense Ministry, said in an online statement that Beijing had expressed its serious concern over the stopover, which lasted just over half an hour. Wu said, "Taiwan is part of China's sacred and inalienable territory." It added, "Any foreign military aircraft that lands on Chinese territory must obtain permission from the government of the People's Republic of China." This is the second time a U.S. military plane landed in Taiwan in recent times. Earlier, a bipartisan team, including Democrats Tammy Duckworth, Christopher Coons, and Republican Dan Sullivan visited Taipei for around 3 hours, where they met President Tsai Ing-wen and announced the donation of 750,000 COVID-19 vaccine doses for the island. The visit carried a message since the senators traveled on a U.S. Air Force C-117 Globemaster III strategic transport aircraft, rather than an unmarked private jet, as is generally the case for senior U.S. visitors. China's Defense Ministry expressed its strong opposition and stated the U.S. senators visited Taiwan by military plane, using the Taiwan issue to engage in a political show, challenging the One China principle and trying to achieve the so-called goal of using Taiwan to control China. This was an extremely vile political provocation. Japan has till now refrained from directly mentioning Taiwan. It's been reluctant in taking a firm stance, but things seem to be changing and officials are now being more forthcoming. Japan's Deputy Prime Minister recently said the country needed to defend Taiwan with the United States. Aso Taro said during a speech in Tokyo, "If a major incident happened in Taiwan, it would not be strange at all if it touches on a situation threatening survival. If that's the case, Japan and the U.S. must defend Taiwan together." Aso added, "We need to think hard that Okinawa could be next." The white paper is manifesting the same stance and states, "Stabilizing the situation surrounding Taiwan is important for Japan's security and the stability of the international community. Therefore, it is necessary that we pay close attention to the situation with a sense of crisis more than ever before." The white paper clearly stated that China, in recent decades, steadily has built up its armed forces, and U.S. forces in the Western Pacific over the same period of time have not significantly changed. The white paper stresses, in regard to the U.S.-Chinese balance, it is necessary to pay greater attention to the military trends of the two countries in areas such as the South China Sea and Taiwan. China has been using strong-arm tactics to threaten its smaller neighbors time and again, which include patrols by warships and aircraft close to their borders. It's part of salami-slicing tactics and aims for the slow accumulation of small changes. China's strategy relies on low-intensity but constant and simultaneous small provocations at multiple pressure points. This serves to stretch thin the capabilities of smaller nations like Taiwan to respond while limiting the risk of escalation to a manageable level. But the strategy can be applied against China too if the US and regional powers like Japan and India get their act together, and this is exactly what's being undertaken.